Good afternoon. It's a great honor to be here with you today. You are the elite of education. My name is Yadolah Zarezadeh. I am Associate Professor of Medical Education in Kurdistan University of Medical Sciences in Sanandaj, Iran. At the beginning of my short speech, I would like to thank Professor Sh.B.MSU and his respected colleagues in SIVU and also Dr. Bailey for time and effort taken to provide this educational platform for all of us to learn from one another. Today, I will provide a short introduction to the theoretical and philosophical underpinnings of TVET, albeit from my own perspective. Thank you very much for attending and listening to me. We have already provided the definition of TVET in our handout, so I do not repeat that again due to time limitations, but it's good to keep in mind that vocational technical education and training is any form of education designed for preparing an individual for employment in an occupation or for helping him or her to remain productive and successful in an occupation. TVET is about the term and concepts such as job, work, being productive, human development, psychomotor skills, and cognitive skills. If so, it's about prosperity, well-being, and economic growth. It is worth mentioning that Hanshuk from Stanford University saw a clear relationship between cognitive skills of the workforce and economic growth. It is evident that cognitive skills of the workforce is related to the quality and quantity of the TVET programs in each country, especially in our time that we are entering a new era where everything is changing and will dramatically change in future. In the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution, in which knowledge and know-how are the keys to success, TVET programs are the best form of education for preparing the vast majority of people for this new era. Let me directly quote Klaus Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, in this regard. We stand on the brink of technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another. In its scale, scope, and complexity, the transformation will be unlike anything humankind has experienced before. The first rationale and theory underpinning TVET that I want to mention here is the endogenous growth theory, which maintains that the economic growth is primarily the result of internal forces rather than external forces. One of the main components of internal forces in each country is its human capital. You know better than me that human capital is enriched and enhanced through human development programs such as TVET. So, it seems high-quality nationwide TVET programs are one of the forces for endogenous long-term sustainable economic growth. As mentioned above, TVET is about development, responsibility, choice, and freedom to learn. So, we are talking about adult learners. There are founding theories and principles for adult learning. We shall remember Knowles here, who described andragogy as the science and the art of helping adults to learn. Knowles rightly described some basic assumptions about adult learners that I briefly recount them here. Adults have learning needs that can be contextualized to their lives. They have self-responsibility for their choices and goals. They have life experiences to build their learning upon them. They are ready to learn as they know its value, impact, and results. They are mostly internally motivated to learn and change. It's clearly evident that these assumptions of andragogy are related to any adult learning program including TVET. Heutagogy is a more humanistic approach to learning in which we can imagine a self-determined learner who knows how to learn and what to learn, formulates questions and problems to be answered. Heutagogy has some implications for TVET because it is more democratic, puts more emphasis on intrinsic motivations, it is humanistic, emancipatory, and gives the learner freedom of choice and pace of learning. We need all these characteristics in a well-designed TVET program, remembering that we are entering a new era that traditional ways of teaching and learning may be challenged seriously. The world is rapidly changing. Fourth industrial revolution is on the way and globalization of everything is happening. The rearrangement of workplace and changing in the way of doing things are inevitable. These changes may result in social exclusion, isolation, unemployment, and polarization of professional technical jobs for millions of people all over the world. Development and empowerment through TVET programs for vast majority of people and helping them in their required transformation seems to be one of the ways to combat this situation. Transformative learning is a deeper level learning that involves creativity, critical thinking, emotional self-awareness, consciousness, and change in one's perspective leading to positive change. It seems TVET programs can help people to transform their lives, which is very much needed. Technical vocational education and training is aimed at advancement of skills and cognition, which result in empowerment and more freedom. Ferreri introduced an approach to education which creates an understanding of power, oppression, domination, and ideology. Central to his educational theory was consciousness, the way learners looked at the world and themselves, their beliefs, ethics, fears, and motives, and how these in turn shaped their behavior in terms of learning and doing. From the standpoint of this critical theory, TVET can be transformative and liberating. Therefore, I argue that transformative learning theory, particularly the works of Ferreri, are one of the main theories that the TVET programs must be based upon. The concept of reflection, first introduced by John Dewey in Western educational literature, had been already mentioned in Masnavi, the masterpiece of the 13th century Iranian poet and mystic Rumi. For example, a person's worth lies in his thoughts alone. Apart from that, we are only flesh and bone. You will be a rose if all your thoughts are selfless. If selfish, just a thorn which is deemed worthless. According to Dewey, reflective learning should include recalling the experience and the event, and then posing a question to discover why things happened the way they did, and what possible actions could have created a different account. Dewey maintained that we do not learn from experience directly, but we learn from reflection on experience. This concept was formulated by Donald Schoen as reflection on action and reflection in action. TVET, as its name suggests, is a form of experiential learning by its nature. So we can argue that without reflection, the learner will not be able to deeply learn from practice. It could be concluded that reflective learning using different models of Schoen, Gibbs, Kolb, and others must be a part of any TVET program. According to WFME, CPD includes all activities that healthcare professionals undertake formally and informally in order to maintain, update, develop, and enhance their knowledge, skills, and attitudes in response to the changing needs of their patients. Engaging in CPD is a professional obligation but also a requirement for enhancing the quality of healthcare. CPD as a form of situated learning, explained by Lev and Wagner in 1990, is and will be an important part of medical education. Professionals are more inclined to learn from experience directly related to their jobs rather than from abstract knowledge transferring classes. CPD can be designed and conducted in TVET programs based on learning theories mentioned here and elsewhere. New technologies and procedures such as virtual reality, precision medicine, healthcare wearables, artificial organs, 3D printing, tissue engineering, wireless brain sensors, robotic surgery, smart inhalers, to mention but a few, have already emerged and are taking the central stage in medicine. This will change the face and practice of medicine dramatically. All of these new features can be introduced into medical practice through TVET programs using different models that is discussed by my colleagues based on the educational theories that I just mentioned here. Based on what I just tried to say about new technologies, it can be concluded that new TVET programs will be situated in technology-rich, innovative learning environments. The term to describe such environment and framework is cybergogy, which has been defined as a framework for creating engaged learning online. In this new cybergogy environment, both teachers and students and program designers must develop their technology trend awareness to be able to remain updated. I suggest universities design technology trend awareness as a TVET program for their audience. One of the lessons of history extracted by Will Durant in his great book, The Story of Civilization, is that competition and collaboration made civilization possible. It seems competition prevails. Competition requires getting better because your rivals are getting better. As basketball coach Pat Riley once said, if you are not getting better, you are getting worse. So, a down-to-earth philosophy of TVET is getting better. Humanistic approaches mentioned here help us design TVET programs for people to get better based on their own choices, their own speeds, and their own preferred directions. The hierarchy of needs presented by Maslow is well known to all of us and widely accepted. According to the hierarchy of needs, we humans have different needs that make a hierarchy starting from physiological needs at the lowest level and moves upward to self-actualization, which represents the highest order motivations which drive us to realize our true potentials and achieve our best ideal self. Although TVET programs can be designed to meet human needs at any level, but they can help people to move upward to create their ideal personalities. In this short speech, I tried to talk about theoretical underpinnings of TVET from different perspectives, such as endogenous growth theory, educational noun theories like andragogy and experiential learning, emancipatory, transformative, critical, reflective theories, new concepts such as heotagogy and cybergogy, and also psychology of human needs, and lastly, down-to-earth, everyday working theory of getting better. I hope I have been able to do the justice to the subject considering time limitations and of course limitations of myself and my knowledge. Thank you very much for listening.